Good evening, and welcome to Conversations with the Candidates on Houston Media Source TV. I'm Michelle Levi McDaniel with the League of Women Voters of the Houston area. On this broadcast, we have two candidates for Houston City Council District F, and we're going to ask some questions to learn a little bit about them and their positions on issues affecting their district and our city. I'd like to welcome all of you to Conversations with the Candidates with the League of Women Voters of Houston area. We'll start with John Wynn. Tell us about yourself and why you're running for District F. And you have 5 minutes to answer, John.
I'm John Wynn, District F. Been in the district since the mid-'80s, and I've seen the rise and fall of our district, and I've seen the area need improvement. Majority of it is within the crime, road maintenance, and overall care of the district. We've been forgotten for the most part, and we get back to it. Now, with the years, we've improved the district, we've lost our district, and overall, it needs better representation. And being the way City Council is, we can represent better. Now, with that kind of reputation, it gives a rise to improvements, roads, safety, crimes, and everything else that needs to be looked at. And another thing was for the candidates and the constituents to have a voice in City Hall. Now, no one's heard for a while. For the last 20 plus years, our city council candidates, our city councilmen have just been there. They've been in the face and they haven't spoken to us. Mm-hmm. And over time, we're forgotten. And since I've been in the district so long, I know how it is. I've seen the good parts and the bad parts. I've seen how improvements, and I drive this area. I'm currently in the Houston 85 Board of Trustees, and I've seen our kids, mobility problems, and all the problems with the drugs, even flooding. And everything we have needs to come downtown, needs to be heard of, somebody down here heard of. And whoever brings it down needs to follow up on it. They got to follow up on it, and keep up the improvements, and bring all the problem and blight to the awareness of city leaders, other city leaders, and the appropriate authorities downtown in City Hall.
Okay, thank you, John. Tiffany Thomas, you have 5 minutes for the same question.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for the invitation to share about our platform. My name is Tiffany D. Thomas, and I'm running to be for the Houston City Council District F to represent parts of Mission Bend, Alief, West Chase, Tanglewild, the original Piney Point, Westmont, and Briar Meadow. Simply put, District F deserves more. For the last 15 years that we've had representation, we've been left out of the city investment, we've been left out of the conversation, and our voices and our values have not been at City Hall. So I'm running because I have the trust of the community, my neighbors, people who are like me, who understand that it's time for us to make a change and a pivot. And I believe I'm the best candidate. I'm the right person to represent our vision and our values at City Hall come November 5th.
Thank you, Tiffany. So tell us something about District K that we don't know. And we'll start with Tiffany Thomas, and you'll have 2 minutes for that. 2 minutes both for that question.
Interesting question. So, John alluded to this earlier, but we are frustratedly known as the forgotten district. When people talk about the city of Houston, District F has never been in that conversation. But we boast and brag of diversity. We are known in Alief as the international district. We have Piney Point, which is originally a freedoms town, and it's a remnant of a freedoms town, where those freed slaves donated the land to HISD for Piney Point Elementary that stands today. We have Westmont, we have Briar Meadow, and we have a wonderful piece of Houston that has not been included. We have people that are talented, skilled, that represent the area very well. So I think a lot of people don't realize that the talent, our resources, who we are, our pride as a community is represented within the walls of the district, but not outside in City Hall.
Well, Tiffany, thank you for that. I had no idea about some of those things in District F. John, 2 minutes to answer that question.
Well, District again, is a great area. We're very diverse. 85 is the majority of the district. We hold 82 languages in the district. And so we are considered one of the most diverse districts. And like I said before, we are most likely forgotten the past 2 decades and past 4 or 5 council members. And for myself, I'm always involved with the community. I'm a photographer. I've done it with ACA and many other groups, including ALEAF, taking pictures of everybody. So I've been around the community. So it's time to have somebody here to speak for the district. No one has.
Thank you, John. So we'll start this next question. Each of you will have 5 minutes, and we will start back with you, Mr. Nguyen. Buffalo Bayou runs through District F, and flooding is a major concern for Houston residents. What steps would you take to address flooding?
Flooding through Buffalo Bayou is down the southern end. We get Keegan's Bayou and Bray's Bayou. Bray's Bayou is huge. So it is a major problem on Bray's Bayou, but on Buffalo Bayou, on the south end of it, main thing is now for the drainage fee that we have currently, use it correctly. You know, what money we have for taxes or the drainage fee, have it use it appropriately and monitored. Second is, for somebody who's dredging, we got a lot of junk and trash in the bayou that needs to be taken out of it. Many of it is just dredging. You know, dig it, make it deeper, wider, shore it up. Areas that have been left unmaintenance for the past decade need to be cleaned up. A lot of it is just a lot of trash. Our storm drains are congested. A lot of the businesses there are dumped chemicals and other debris in the drainage, and that needs to be cleaned out too. And that helps flooding. That moves water from the streets down the waterways, down into the bayou, and eventually to Galveston. But in the district, the drains have to be cleaned that way. And a lot of it is also through illegal trash dumps, chemicals and plants, any permits that we have that are issued to companies that are not following permits. And besides those, the other bayous have other problems too. You know, they all interconnect one way or the other. And as they connect, those connections, tributaries, have to be cleaned up.
Okay, thank you, John. Ms. Thomas, 5 minutes for that same question.
So thank you for that question. It's important. I think I can answer that in 2 parts. So in context of Hurricane Harvey, District F was the least impacted, which means in terms of water and home. I was a victim of Harvey where I had roof leakage, and many of the individuals in District F that were impacted was really because of low-wage workers that were out of work because of their jobs being closed due to the hurricane. But to speak specifically to flooding, yes, Keegan's Bayou is directly behind, and as you know, I had a conversation with a few residents in Huntington Village, and Keegan's backs up directly to some of their homes, and they flooded several times. Rainy day floods, tax day floods, and it's becoming an issue in certain parts of the area. I also want to include Westmont. Westmont has specific flooding damage. But what's currently happening in the city, and Steve Cosello, who's the current city's flooding czar, has Keegan's Bayou as his #1 project for focus on. So finally, we have someone with eyes at City Hall making sure that flooding is mitigated. But I think the second part of that conversation is District F may not be in the same blessed position the next time we have a 500-year storm, right? So I think what's important for us is to be a part of the conversation around resiliency and what happens and are our buildings and our infrastructure and our drainage secure to withstand a similar storm. And so that's what I think is how we pivot and look at the targeted areas where there was flooding, but also as we look as a city in the future and how do we make sure that District F remains a safe area. I also want to add, I think it's important around flooding. District F has, I think, the second largest concentration of multifamily apartments. So when we look at Chapter 19, when we look at apartments that are flooded, what does that mean for renters? What does that mean for those who are interested in a single family home? Was there flooding? Does that need to be disclosed? And I think that's something that we can do as a community and then take that to City Hall to make sure that's included.
Thank you, Tiffany, for that. This next question, you both again will have 5 minutes, and we'll start with Ms. Tiffany Thomas. Other than flooding, what are some of the most pressing issues affecting District F? And if elected, what steps would you take to address those issues?
Great question. There are so many pressing issues in District F because if I take you on a tour in some of the cavities, the neighborhood cavities, many people would be shocked. I think first things first is that we need to hold our bad business neighbors accountable and we need to clean up our streets. And I think that's something that we owe our residents. When I announced my candidacy, I made it very clear that we deserve more. And I've been sharing that we deserve more as I travel and as I talk to residents because what we've been getting is not our fair share. So I think one thing, if we can hold our bad business neighbors accountable that are making a dollar and generating revenue off of sometimes poor people and not keeping their areas clean, such as apartment owners, commercial real estate owners and shopping centers, that's a problem. But I think secondly, there are city assets in the area that are not maintained, right? So I think we also have to keep ourselves accountable. And if we're going to be a Houston for all, we need to start with the very basics. It is my belief that no matter where you live, where you come from, your income or your ethnicity, you should live in safe, secure, and clean housing. And so some of the babies coming out of A-Leaf ISD that are going to school or HISD deserve to live in clean shelter, clean neighborhoods, streets that are fixed and straight, lights that are lit in the nighttime so people can feel safe. So I think it's a hodgepodge of issues, revitalization, public safety, quality of life. And I think all of those are leading in what I'm hearing from residents in terms of our priorities in District F.
Thank you, Tiffany. Mr. John, you have 5 minutes to answer that same question.
Well, in my opinion, public safety is probably a priority for everybody. For our area, Kings Village, Huntington, parts of the Westchester area that include District F, crime is a big problem, especially violent crimes have a big problem there. A couple of major homicides recently happened there, and it's been overlooked somewhat. Been swept under the rug and been overseen by authorities. Some of it's been noticed now. Some have been caught the limelight on it. Some have caught the news, but not much of it has. For the most part, public safety is the first thing. Have the police department, the fire department, and any first responders be aware of what they have, and have our residents wake up and be aware of their surroundings. Watch the surroundings, watch the crime, report crimes as they come in, not just look away. At the same time, have our law enforcement have more presence, have more vision, have more visibility, and see the people around them, see the community. That's the first thing there. Second was the road conditions. Roads, sidewalks need to be repaired. I mean, we get some roads you drive it, it's like almost like dirt roads, dirt and gravel roads, and a lot of need to be repaired. Sidewalks included. The drains at the same time need repaired. I live in Brady's Forge area, and the road access to my house, you got to drive about 2 miles an hour just to get in the neighborhood. You cannot drive fast enough. And it's just one little patch. And no one's fixed it. And I've called in to fix it 4 years ago. It fixed it. It lasted about a year, and it fell apart again. And those are things have been fixed. And that's just one area. There are maybe 1,000 areas, specifically Bel Air and Kirkwood, Bel Air and Woodcrest. Those two areas have major problems there. Not just potholes, but just roads are terrible. Sidewalks, same issue. For A-ISD, we recently built a sidewalk in Harris County, not Houston, to add sidewalks, repair sidewalks for the kids' safety. And that helped improve the area also. Those are two things. Now, flooding from Harvey, flooding from over any storm, again, like Tiffany said, we weren't impacted as bad. So it is a critical situation for us. It's not considered a priority. It's still a priority, but it's not as hard as public safety. As for a third priority, well, you tell me. The people call me, call city council. The other priorities are what you set me, not what I set. I'm your voice. So as you call me, call the office, say a problem, we prioritize it. And we group together and prioritize what it is, investigate and follow up. And after it's sent to the right authorities and the right channels, we follow up on it. That's the best way to keep the area revitalized.
Okay, thank you, John. So this next question, we have, again, 5 minutes for each of you. We'll start this with Mr. John. With the West Park Toll and part of the Grand Parkway running through District F, how important are transportation issues to your district? And how does news that the Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT, is considering leaving the Grand Parkway project incomplete. How would that project being left incomplete affect your districts, and how do you feel about that?
Now for the Westport Tollway, we got about a third to half of the West Tollway in our district. I mean, a lot of it in the county. For the most part, Westport Tollway is complete. The far west side area isn't complete yet, but they're getting there. That's probably the Fort Bend area. And it's not too bad. For us, our major problem is the area on Cook Road. That's the only thing we have. We got wrong way drivers, people drive the wrong way there, fatality wrecks. I think we recently had a motorcycle wreck on Westwood Tollway because someone went the wrong way. And we got notification within a minute of the wrong way driver, but still someone died on it. It shouldn't happen. Now, the ramp of Cook Road is convenient. It's very convenient for the district. Right there for the school district, central office, great for us, but it's caused other problems. And loss of life isn't worth it, not worth the convenience. The rest of the tollway is just congested. There's no ifs, ands, or about it. It's congested. Around 5 p.m., there's no way around it. You get off the roads and the feeder roads, it's the same problem. It's getting worse, actually. And but as for the repairs and maintenance of it, West Tollway doesn't affect us as much. It serves the north side district, but that's about it. As for the Grand Parkway, it is in the very, very far western edge of our territory. And the only part that is affected by Jerry is the reservoir area, and there's maybe 2 ramps by single ranch, and that's mostly the county. We see very little of the Grand Parkway. If affected at all, it's going to be in the far side by the Mission Bend area, which is the very edge of a small pocket area. And I haven't seen a problem with it yet.
Thank you, John. Ms. Tiffany, you have 5 minutes for the same question.
Sure. So I would like to, again, make this a 2-part answer. And just to reiterate what John said, 99 is on our far western part of the district. Okay. But I think because of how we're uniquely situated, we are a landlocked district. So north of us is Westheimer in District G. East of us is District J. On the other side of east is Fort Bend County, and then also south. So I think the conversation around transit is really about future land use and what happens on how we move people within the district. I remember where I currently live off of Dairy Ashford and Bel Air, between Dairy Ashford, Bel Air, and Beechnut. It used to take me maybe 15 minutes. Well, 8 minutes to get to Beltway 8. Now it can easily take me 20 to 25 minutes just from my location to the Beltway. We have more growth in the area. District F is still some of the most affordable apartments and single-family homes in Houston. So we're going to attract a lot of people. I think as we revitalize, as we keep our eyes on the Metro Next package, if the voters accept that in November, what does this mean for ridership? How do we move people from a growing west side through our district to the downtown core for jobs? And so I think that's really the conversation that I've been hearing around transportation is one, our streets. I think we need a lot of attention on our streets and moving people around on safe streets, and then the infrastructure around that. And then, I want to repeat land use. Okay.
Thank you, Tiffany, for that. This next question, you each will have 3 minutes to answer. And we'll start with Ms. Tiffany Thomas. Houston is a very diverse city. How will you work to communicate with the diverse population in your district and represent your various constituents in City Hall?
Great question. We're going to continue to do what we're doing on the ground through this campaign. I believe that District F belongs to all of us, and I've made that my intention. My materials, my door hangers, my direct mail, multilingual. It comes in English, Vietnamese, and Spanish. So it's not that just the district has been left out, but as a community. There's some white members in our district, residents, that feel left out. There are Black residents that feel left out, Latino residents that feel left out. So this is an opportunity we've been engaging and communicating with them, so they feel a part of the district and they can have their story a part of this city story. I think what's important is that we create opportunities to make sure that everyone can live and work together. We demonstrate that, so we're really at a good place. District F can be an example on how majority minority communities live, work, and thrive. We see that in the Alief ISD school system. I see that in my father's neighborhood, who lives in Brays Village West, where I put 4 4 yard signs in his yard. And our Vietnamese neighbor says, she's my daughter too, I want a sign. And he takes the sign and puts it in his yard. Our Guatemalan neighbors across the street says, I want a sign because I grew up with her. And our African neighbor next door to him says, what is this about? I want a sign too. And that's a demonstration on who we are as a community, that we can have unique differences, but also share in a common likeness. And that's what District F is. And we're going to take those values, again, as I stated, to City Hall to make sure that every diverse group voice is included in our plans for a better District F.
Thank you, Tiffany. John?
Like I said, for AVIZ and District F, we've had 82 languages, 82 cultures. We're very diverse. That's one advantage of District F. District F is basically a microcosm of the world. You can go 2 blocks away and get any cultured food you want. You don't like it there, go somewhere else. It's like Houston weather. It changes every 5 minutes. And you change the mood, and your mood changes. You want to find a different culture, different food, walk down the street. There's always something different. If you don't like it there, go somewhere else. And that gives the advantage of being a multicultural and very diverse and microcosm. Even for myself, well, I don't judge people. I see people as friends. And as friends, we don't judge people. And that should be. And being a district as diverse as District F, that's very important. You know, you got to be able to talk to everybody and connect to everybody. You can't just talk to them, talk through them. You got to talk to them, and you got to be able to respond to them. And as a talk back and forth to you, and you talk to them, they got to see you as a friend, not just a city councilman, a friend. And that lets you connect them as a family, even their pets. You can talk to them. I've had a couple of houses I walked in a few days ago, and the dogs get along with me. You know, I get the dogs. They say the dog never likes anybody. They're like me. Don't know why. And they're just sitting there talking. They look like, this dog's 14 years old. That dog has hated everybody, barked at everybody. And so he's licking you. Okay. They always say dogs are good judging character, good judging people. That's a good judging character. You know, she liked it. That's one person. Now, the district is large. We come to a fair number of people in the district. You know, it'd be a challenge to it. And that's one thing for me, I like a challenge. There are people that won't like anybody. There are people that you'll never win over. That's just how they are. But your job is just to represent them. It doesn't matter if they like you or not. If you vote in, you represent them. And all you do is when they have a problem, you speak for them. And that's what City Hall does. You represent the community. And as the people calls you, you speak for them. If they can't speak, you can't speak for them, you find them to speak for them.
Okay, thank you, John. So this next question is actually something that both of you have touched on. You'll have 2 minutes to answer, 3 minutes to answer this question. And it's really concerning the mood of how both of you have conveyed that District F has been forgotten. What is it that you can do when you're elected, that you can change the mood so that people will start to feel a part of District F again, feel alive about where they live, and how the face of that will change with new leadership sitting in City Council representing them? So we'll start with you, Mr. John, to answer that question.
Well, the first thing for City Council is when there's something happening in Houston, in the district event, community event, or meeting, call me. Unlike past members, I will actually show up. At least try my best to show up, all of them. I can maybe one place at one time, so I may do 3 things at one time. That's the first thing to do. Be there, make a presence, make sure you're there. When they're heard, I don't ignore them. Make notes, bring the problems up, and consolidate problems. Second part of the whole thing is basically when it comes to City Council and the people there with civic leaders and anybody in the civic community, have your number. You know, don't let them call the office. Let them call you directly. You know, I've told many civic leaders in the past few months now that if I get an office, every civic leader will have my direct cell number, not the office number. Call me directly. If there's a problem, call me directly. Everyone else can call the office, but civic leaders, anybody you want, call me directly, and if need be, I'll go to you. As for the community, call the office, and if there's an issue with any of the community, I'm a photographer myself. As a photographer, I take pictures a lot. And if you got a problem, I will go out to your house or your residence, your business, or a parking lot. Wherever you see a problem, I will take my own picture. Send it in downtown, find the right authorities, have it replaced. Second is, after it's been resolved or not resolved, I'll come back out 2 months, 3 months, even 2 days if it's not resolved yet, and take another picture. Bring the picture downtown again and have it followed up on. until it's been something resolved. And some take one picture, you can't really decline it. The city knows the constituents and the residents wouldn't know I'm there, and it makes a difference. You know, you make your presence there, and the only thing there is making a presence. And as they see you, events, meetings, complaints show up. Make a presence, they know you are.
Thank you, John. Ms. Tiffany, you have 3 minutes for the same question.
Sure. So I think it's important to let the community know that District F has the lowest voter participation in the city for municipal elections. Some believe that that's voter apathy and that we're not engaged. But I would offer to you and to those who are watching this broadcast that I don't believe voter apathy exists. I believe that we have not offered our neighbors anyone compelling enough to get involved. As I visit in various parts of the district, people are eager to plug in, but we've had leadership in the past. So I believe what is different and what is happening is that we're getting ready to pivot, and the people are getting ready to receive what they've been requiring for the last 20 years and have not received. And so that's what's different about this time. So this will not be a one-man or one-woman show. This election will be about the people's voices at City Hall to make sure that the people receive the very equitable service that they're already paying into. So that's why it's very critical in this election at this moment in time, particularly for District F.
Thank you, Tiffany. So this next question, you each have 5 minutes to answer, and we're going to start with Tiffany Thomas. Houston has 16 city council members, each representing different parts of the city, each with their own concerns. If you're elected to city council, how are you going to work with all of the different personalities and issues to best represent District F?
Great question. We're demonstrating that now, and I think as candidates for District F, I think it's important to publicly share that we've been very collegial with each other and very pleasant, and so it hasn't been a nasty race because all of our intentions are for the very best of the people. And that's something that I extend to my comrades in other races, that their intentions are very pure. But I believe that what you do for District F, you can demonstrate for the city as one of the most diverse in the city of Houston. So let us be an example of what real equitable investment is. I also think there's an opportunity for collaborations because many of our issues are not separate from each other, right? So this is about how do we unify and leverage our like causes and issues and our strengths and successes for the betterment of what's happening in the city. And how can we do that collectively and move a real agenda forward that has the buy-in of the people and then the representatives in the horseshoe. And so I've been willing on this campaign trail to meet with and discuss with candidates their ideology and to explicitly share the values and principles of District F because it's very important that as we're part of that conversation that we're included.
Thank you, Tiffany. John?
Well, for District F, for the District F and other districts, well, for the past 4 years and longer, I've dealt with many of the current city council members. Not knowing which one's which, but many that I've talked to over time, over the years. Some I've taken pictures of too, different events. So I've been around for a while. But as for District F and the other people, the one thing that comes to mind for all us to work together is teamwork. We have to collaborate with each other. And that's one thing I do very well. And that's what I do right now. I'm currently with the 8 Board of Trustees. So we have a team of 7 people with a superintendent, a team of 8 people. And we collaborate a lot. When we have a chance, we have workshops and meetings, we try to figure out how to take care of the kids. And using that experience with the Board of Trustees and with ALEAF, I can use it to bring it to City Council with the same method. A little different though. In the ALEAF school board system, the superintendent is our employee or below us, and the mayor is above us on City Council. That's what really the difference. But overall, we see and oversee budget, laws, basically all the operations within Houston, besides the board of directors. And as we oversee things, see the operations, we have to work together. And one thing that with city councilmen is they all have to work together and put their personal agenda aside. And in ALEAF, that's what we do. We put our personal agenda aside and we help the kids. And at City Council, we put our personal agenda aside and talk to the people, talk to the residents, and work together and make a better city. And Houston is a great city. It needs to be. It needs to stay that way. And over the years, it's got ups, got downs. That doesn't matter. We got to work overall that we improve the city.
Thank you, John. So you each have 5 minutes for this next question. And we'll start again with John. Houstonians want economic development, but we also want to preserve our quality of life. How will you balance these concerns if elected to City Council?
That's a tricky question. It's got so many points to raise there. For economic development, we have to improve the area. The main area for District F area are apartment and blight. Crime needs to be run out. Luckily, a lot of the unusual crime is outside the district area, district boundaries, so it's not too bad. But for the most part, having apartments being torn down, revitalized, remodeled is one thing. That clears it out. That fixes the mobility problems. Having kids, parents move to cheaper apartments or better apartments and move around. Road conditions, flooding issues still there. Violent crimes is up in the area again, in Keegan's area. Needs to be brought down again. And those bring the economic development areas. As businesses come in, we need better business. We got numerous complaints of small business with permits that shouldn't be there. Either they'll be pulled, questioned, or have an ordinance passed that will restrict their work. Many of the work is just chemicals, trash dumps. I think recently I think Tiffany we had a town civic meeting with Pine Point, and they had the auto shops that are in the wrong places, and that shouldn't be there. They're racing the roads. Speed bumps help slow down, but that just makes it ugly. But having those businesses closed down and have the correct business there will improve the area, improve business, improve overall economics of the District F and the city too, because those areas add to the improvement of the whole city as a whole.
Thank you, John. Tiffany?
Yes, so there's some recent data that came out, some research around economic development is directly connected to the vitality of your neighborhood. And I can speak specifically to the 77099 zip code. When you look at the built environment, when you look at city assets that are not maintained, when you look at apartment complexes that have been burned down and not demolished, and people continue to live there, it's problematic. The business community will not come. Social entrepreneurs would not see this as a viable place. And let's not even mention the human trafficking that happens in portions of the district in broad daylight. So I think first things first, in terms of economic development, we need to first clean up our streets. We need to first do that. And I think also, in order to revitalize a neighborhood, we need young families. And it's hard to compel people I went to school with or people who are at the space where they're ready to purchase a home and send their kids to school when the neighborhoods aren't clean, when the grass isn't cut, when the shopping centers are in disarray. So I think it's all, there's an intersection of all. Economic development, quality of life, health outcomes, and then also the narrative of the district, right? So when people think of A-Leaf or they think of certain parts, they think that it's full of crime and it's disregarded completely. But there's a pride. I don't feel unsafe walking in the street in the middle of the night. I don't feel unsafe when I walk to my local Walgreens. And so until we disrupt the perception that you are unsafe in communities of color, then we can't incentivize business to come. And I think we have to start listening to the people. We have the data. We know what people want. It's time for leadership at City Hall. So when it's time to talk about Houston and come to Houston and promote Houston as a business opportunity, which Houston are they talking about? Are they talking about District F? And that's one of the reasons I'm asking for votes on November 5th, so we can make sure that we take the data, the information of the people, and take that to City Hall.
Thank you, Tiffany. So we are here at the final question of the evening. You each have 3 minutes to answer. Finally, why are you the best candidate, and how can voters learn more about your your campaign? And we'll start with Tiffany.
Well, I think it's important that I look you in your face if you're watching this broadcast and make my argument. I'm running for Houston City Council District F to represent your values. If you are like me, and I believe you are tired of being disregarded and your issues falling on deaf ears. This is our time that we get to deserve more and we get to get what we deserve. I'm asking for your vote. And if we have not met, I'm asking for the opportunity to earn your vote, not just on November 5th, but once we get into the seat, what is our plan to make sure that the next 4 years belong to us? My name is Tiffany D. Thomas, and I'm asking to serve and represent you at City Hall. You can learn more about me and my campaign at tiffanydthomas.com, and you can follow me on social media at Tiffany for A-Leaf. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. John?
For myself, for the district, I've been here for the 80s, so I've been here for a long time. I've seen the improvements and the ups and downs of the district. And so I've been here for a long time. Even with the 80s School Board, I've been there for 2 years now. I'm also the Vice President for Houston UH alumni. And so all I do is serve kids and serve the community and serve people. Over the past 13 years, I've been the civilian photographer for the Houston Fire Department. So I've been around. I've seen the build new areas. I've seen areas torn down and burned down, good and bad. It doesn't matter. So I've seen the community. I've seen people. A lot of people have seen me around the community, but don't know it. You ever see a camera walk around? That's usually me. But they don't see it. They see a camera. They see somebody that walks around just doesn't know what they're doing. But it's usually me. And I first went to school at A-Leaf. Graduated in 95, Elsa High School. Went to UH, finished 01. And came back to UH as an alumni vice president. Put in there. Not open, not a official like seat, but it's a seat within UH, the main campus. Shortly after that, about 5 years, I had a stroke. So I had a stroke, moved back to A-Leaf. And that's where I went to, my neighbor, Dr. Chung, asked me to run for school board 2 years ago. I'm still at school board now, so I can lose one if I get city council. They don't want that, but they have to take it. But for the most part, it's a stepping stone for me. You know, city council is a bigger step, more responsibility, and it helps me serve the area better. Now, at the same time, I can serve A-Leaf just as well. I'm not a school board member for them anymore, but A-Leaf is 80% of District F. Majority of District F is A-Leaf. I think almost all of it is. and A-Leaf is actually bigger than F. We cover west side to the community, the county area. So we cover all the way to Highway 6 and beyond, somewhere in Crestwater. That's A-Leaf. And so District F is a good chunk of that. And I think myself, having my experience with the UH and having my experience with A-Leaf, extend me to my knowledge and my knowledge and know-how of the district, serve it better. It gives me a way, it gives me insight. Also, with District F and with me with the Houston Fire Department, is I've seen a lot of things. I've got direct connection with City Council, direct connection with the Fire Department, Police Department, and everyone that knows in law enforcement is direct line connection. For myself, if anyone wants to know me, simply enough, call me, talk to me. My number is public. Everyone's welcome to call me. I go on Facebook, but it's not really running live. It's there, but it's just there. But my number, simply enough, call me, 832-309-1844. Call me directly. Call me anytime you want, day or night. I usually answer the phone up about 2 in the morning. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Thank you, John. I want to thank both of you, Tiffany D. Thomas and John Wynn. Both are running for District F. And we want to thank both of you for being here tonight. Not only for coming out to the Houston media source to answer our questions, but allowing us the opportunity to learn a little bit about you so we can be better informed voters. Every year, the League of Women Voters of the Houston area publishes its Voters Guide. The guide is where we pose a set of questions to candidates from a number of local elections and ask them a written response. The Voters Guide will be available in mid-October before the early voting begins. It will be available in print as well as on our website, lwvhouston.org, and the League's 411 app. It will be available in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. We are also putting together a handy-dandy guide to help voters learn about the new voting centers, that will be available to Harris County voters on Election Day, statewide constitutional amendments and local issues, and all the candidates for Houston city elections, the Board of Trustees for the Houston Independent School District, and Houston Community College. In just a few days, Houston Media Source TV will post this program on its YouTube channel, and it will be also available on the League of Women Voters of Houston area's Facebook page, LVW Houston. For the League of Women Voters of the Houston area, I'm Michelle Levi McDaniel. Thank you for watching Conversations with the Candidates on Houston Media Source TV.
Take your mics off, y'all.
Whoop, whoop.